Hello everybody. Welcome to video number 1 of an actual tutorial in Fusion 360. If you have not set this program up yet, or if your programs is at the top, you have 30 days or whatever number of days left, you can actually get an educational license if you are a teacher or if you are a student. So make sure you do that. Follow the steps by clicking this, and it says there's a bottom panel at one of the options that pops up. It says verify for free use. Just follow those steps and you'll get free use. So welcome. This is the very first video, and we're going to go through just the basics of how to use this program and what the sort of navigational tools are in this program. When you open up for the very first time, or the very first few times after you have verified it, you're going to see some pop-ups. This one is the quick setup. This is the first thing I saw, and this is new to me because I've used this program quite a bit, so I don't know any of the new options that are here. But in this program, it's already default set to millimeters, which is the metric system. If you are in the States, you don't know what the metric system is, or you don't use it very much, you can actually change it. You can go to inches or feet. My suggestion is just to keep it at millimeters for now. Keep it at mm, and you can change it later on. This is not set in stone. Now, you're new to CAD. CAD is what this is. This kind of program is a 3D and 2D design sketching program for designing anything, really. Products, designing architectural buildings, whatever you might want. It doesn't really matter, but either way, a CAD program is used for those kind of things. This gives you some tips on what there is to do for moving around. One important thing is that if you don't have a physical mouse, this is key for you, because movement in this program, moving the canvas, the screen around, and rotating around objects and moving the objects is very important, and it's very hard to do unless you are fluent with your mouse pad. So I don't actually know these things because I myself use a mouse. The center mouse button. If you don't have a center mouse button, the little wheel that scrolls up and down pages on any web browser, then you might want to get a mouse that has this, because this will make a night and day difference with using this program, is if you have a mouse with a center button. So panning, you have 2 fingers sliding across. Zooming, you have 2 fingers pinching or separating. We're all kind of used to this with our phones. And orbit is, it looks like over holding down shift, this is the shift button, and swiping left or right. It looks like it. Anyways, I'll show you how to use the mouse quite a bit, and otherwise you can kind of figure it out with the shift button and 2 fingers on the trackpad if you're on a laptop. So let's get rid of this, because I don't need this, and I don't think you need this either. That's interesting. So stuff popping up here. Now, when you're looking at the program here, you see that there's a panel up here on the top. There's a browser list. This list gets quite long once you have made a very complicated or multi-structured object. At the bottom here, you have this sort of gray panel with a play button and a forward back on 2 directions. That's forward to the end, back to the end, and forward and back 1 step and play. This is the steps of the history within your object. So let's say you do a whole bunch of different things to your object, and you make some kind of square with a whole bunch of different things attached to it, holes and chamfers and edges that are changed. Then you'll see a list of all the things that happen along here. You can get rid of this by just clicking this little icon here and say do not capture to design history, or you can right click up here. So the browser menu has your main object. It's unsaved, it's untitled. Right click and menu will pop up, do not capture. For right now, let's just keep this capture design history on. Later on we will remove that, because to go into a certain mode in this program you cannot have design history. And there's a reason for that, but we'll talk about that then. So first thing first, the saving stuff. When you open up this program, it will automatically create a new untitled document, a new untitled canvas. That's fine. If you don't want to use it, just go to this little show data panel button, this 9-tiered square, and you will open up your other files or other documents and objects that you have in this program. Save button, and here file, create new, all this other stuff is here. Forward and back button, control or command on Mac, so command Z is back, and Command Y or Control Y is forward on this for shortcuts. On the screen here, if you see my mouse moving around, if I left click, left click will have a green circle with, you can see multiple number of clicks in a row, it'll tell you, and right click has a blue circle. Now, when you right click, it always brings up a menu. If you click on an object, this menu changes depending on the object and what the options are attached to that object are available. But that's just a general gist. You'll see that's a shift. I'm hitting different keys and things pop up. So it shows you the key that I'm using. Escape is to cancel things in this program. Everything kind of pops up. So you'll see exactly what I'm doing. All the mouse and movement clicks will happen. And you'll see exactly what to do. And hopefully you kind of get the hang of it yourself. It becomes kind of intuitive and natural to use this program. This program is quite fluent, so it's really nice. And once you get the hang of it, it becomes a lot of fun. So let's click here, the data panel. So right away, this is a brand new account for me. I have not made anything under this account, so there's nothing here. Autodesk, the company that makes this program, has all these servers that run cloud storage of this program. So everything you save in here goes onto their servers. You can turn it offline by going up here to this little clock beside your name and work offline. If you want to do that, that's just fine. But the moment you go back online, it will automatically update all your files with all the new things that have been saved on your computer. So it's automatic. And I don't know if you can change it or not. I don't know if you need to or not. It really depends what you're doing, I guess, and your goals. But this cloud service and online server access makes it really easy to share and collaborate on projects at the same time as other people within this program. So that's really nice. Okay, so let's skip all that. So we have up here, my first project. If I go back even one more step, let me just go forward again. So when you open up this little panel here on the left, just to reiterate what I said, you have this coming up first. You have upload, don't worry about that. New folder is nice to have. We'll use that in a minute. We have other options like view our histories, and we have this sort of tiered folder or browser menu. If I click this left arrow up here, it'll go back to the main menu. It has basic training, other examples of how to use different parts in this program. You can try those later on your own. We won't be going through them. You have recent data. If you double click it, it'll show you what you've done recently. You see it's updating to the servers. I've done nothing on this program with this actual account yet, so nothing shows up. And then right here, my first project. Everyone should have this as their very first thing. If it doesn't show this, you can rename it. And if it doesn't show this, that means you have renamed it. So let's just double click this again. Or if you want, hit a new project, but just stick with my first project. We're going to create a folder first, just to keep our stuff in. So hit the new folder button right here, and then you will have a new folder to pop up with a new folder name. You can title it, let's say, Tutorial 1. Hit enter, it updates it, there you go. So under Tutorial 1. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to save our current blank document. Hit this save button. We're going to save it as, let's call it cube 1, because we're going to make a basic cube and move on with that single cube 1. And I don't want to save it under my master. Master is including this folder, everything on top of it. Click this little down arrow here. So again, if I cancel it, hit the save button, call it cube 1. You can put no space if you want. If you're into coding, you can put in a underscore, whatever you want to do. I'm going to put a space just because most people relate to that. I'm going to hit this little down arrow. I'm going to go and find my tutorial 1. If you don't know where it is, you can click the master or click it here. My first project, doesn't really matter, but go to the master, tutorial, double click that, and it will open up your tutorial. So now you can see in our location tiered list here, we have project, master, and tutorial 1. So now I'm going to save cube 1 in tutorial. Done. It's saved. It renames itself cube 1. This is V0 or VO. It's a 0. It's a number. It's the version number. Every time you save, the versions will update. And this program saves automatically. So don't worry about the version number. This just helps you if you're working with other people and you want to check to see if you're the same version as them. You can check version numbers and update from there. Okay, so now we've saved it. This is what you do every single time. When you save it, it'll automatically save to this exact same folder. It won't ask you anymore where to put it unless you want to move it, but we'll do all that later on, moving things around. So for right now, I'm just going to close this by hitting this Hide Data Panel. And now I'm back to the main Fusion screen with nothing on the side. All right, so here we go. I have our main area here. On the top right, I have this little box. It says top, front, right. This is your camera angle. This is going to tell you what you're looking at and which direction you're looking. If you, let's say, click on the corner here, hold your left mouse button and drag, you can see that this box and the entire screen is moving because you're moving the camera. You're not moving the screen itself, you're moving your view. This is as if you're moving around a room. The room doesn't move, you move around the room. This is the idea of this program, where you are viewing whatever is in the center of the room. You can click left, it will go straight to a direct view. Click the arrows to go to the opposite one, top, bottom. You can just drag it again, back and forth. So this is the really basic way of doing this. Try to make it look like this. Here's your first goal. You have top, front, and right. Try to make your view look like this. Drag it until it looks like this. Z and X are on that angle. All right, so that's your first angle. Now, next thing is, on your mouse, I want you to hold the middle button, the wheel. Hold it down and drag your mouse across the screen and watch what happens. Hold it down, this little symbol pops up. Let me try it again. So here's my mouse. Look at the green circle. I have the middle mouse button. This is a hand, a terrible hand drawing actually, but it's still a hand. And if I move my mouse, I'm actually dragging the entire canvas around. So I'm not moving any objects. If there were anything on this canvas, it wouldn't be moving itself. I'm moving, let's say, the camera view of the object. So I'm just moving my personal view. So if your object is skewed over here to the side and you want to put it back in the center, you just hold that middle mouse button and drag your mouse and you have it over there. So here's what I do all the time. And I never use this box to change my camera angle because it's much faster to hold down Shift and then the same middle mouse button as you're dragging, and with a Shift, and you have this camera angle change. It's the exact same pivot function that you did up here. So again, if I do this, move this back to top, front, right, hold down the Shift button and hit the middle mouse button, hold it down, I can actually rotate the entire camera around. This is what I use all the time. So if you see my view rotating, it's because I'm holding Shift and using the middle mouse button. So slide the whole canvas around, rotate around. That's the really two big key aspects to seeing this program and seeing things change. Okay? All right. Next, we have a few things over here on the browser. We have a list. This list will have a bodies folder in a second when we make our first object in the next video. And it also has above it a panel of options separated by these little lines here. So first key, we have Sketch, which if you drop down that menu, you have a whole bunch of options. You have Create, you have Modify, Assemble, and so on. We'll be using Sketch, Create, Modify a lot. Mostly Sketch and Modify, even Create, depending on what I feel like doing. But Sketch is the best way to do anything in this program. The other thing we'll be using quite a bit is this Inspect function. This first little ruler here, it tells you if you hold your mouse above it what it means for every single button here. And this Inspect tells you angles, lengths, distances, and so on. It's really important to get really comfortable with this because knowing how big something is or the angle that something is at can help you not make so many mistakes in the future because you won't have to redo things if you know exactly how far you have to go. Okay? So the last thing within this video is to add stuff to the menu. So let's try something here. This menu has, if I get rid of this, I have a Create Sketch, I have a line, and I have a 2-point rectangle. What I'd like you to do is to hit the Sketch drop-down menu, go to Circle, Center Diameter Circle, and don't click this button. go over to the far right. I think on Windows it's a little arrow, an angled up arrow. But click this three-dot option, and if it doesn't do it automatically, hit the pin to toolbar. And what happened is, now I added this center diameter circle to my toolbar. Now I want you to also go to Polygon, same thing, but down to Polygon. Go to this first circumscribed polygon, and hit the same thing, pin to toolbar. Okay? So there you have two new options defaulted to your main toolbar. You can do anything you want with this. This is a fully changeable toolbar. You can move entire sections around if you want. But let's also try this. I want you to hold down with your left mouse button on the circle and drag it across. Maybe you try it again. Drag it across. You can actually change the position of these options too. Now what happened was it opened up another option that came up on the screen here. Ignore that for now. I'm going to hit escape to cancel. Whatever I do, if I don't want it to happen, hit escape and it will just cancel. Don't worry about hitting it too many times. It's not going to affect anything. All right, so thank you very much. Go to the next video if you have time. Otherwise, maybe have some fun before you hit the first video and see if you can make something before I show you how to make some very basic objects. Catch you later.